Most motorcycles are fun, but few last a lifetime. Today, you'll see 17 bikes that almost never break down, trusted by cops, world travelers, and riders who've gone hundreds of thousands of miles. And number 1, a bike so simple, it's quietly run the globe for decades, you won't believe it. Number 17, Kawasaki KLR 650. The Kawasaki KLR 650 has a reputation that borders on myth. Riders call it the cockroach of motorcycles because no matter where you drop it, no matter how many miles you pile on, it just keeps crawling back to life. For more than 40 years, this machine has been the quiet, dependable companion of world travelers, cross-country commuters, and off-road explorers who simply need a bike that will not quit. At its heart beats a 652 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine that favors torque over thrills. It produces modest horsepower, but that is the point. This is an engine designed to last. Stories of KLRs rolling past 100,000 miles with little more than oil changes are everywhere, and the owners tell them with pride. Practicality is baked into every inch. A 6-gallon tank stretches the range well past 250 miles. The seat is built for long days. The suspension is adjustable for comfort and control, and the chassis stays stable even when loaded down with gear. Yes, it carries more weight than some leaner dual sports, but on the highway that translates into steadiness, not struggle. And unlike many modern adventure bikes, the KLR does not bury you in fragile electronics. Its simplicity means fewer things to break, easier maintenance in the garage, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing your motorcycle will always start when you hit the button. Add in the fact that new models start just over $7,000, and used examples hold their value year after year, and you see why so many riders treat the KLR as a buy once, ride forever machine. The KLR 650 is rugged, honest, and endlessly dependable. It makes sense. But if a bare-bones workhorse feels a little too plain for your taste, and you are curious about a machine that blends the same toughness with a touch more edge, what comes next might just be the most underrated way for you to chase freedom without fear of breakdowns. Number 16, Suzuki DR 650. If the Kawasaki KLR is the cockroach of motorcycles, the Suzuki DR 650 is its loyal brother-in-arms, equally stubborn, equally unkillable, but with its own personality carved out over decades of trust. Since the mid-90s, the DR has stayed almost defiantly unchanged, and in a world obsessed with screens, rider modes, and endless electronics, that stubbornness has become its greatest strength. At the center is a 644 cubic centimeter air in oil-cooled single. It is carbureted, it is simple, and it is built to take punishment without complaint. This is not the bike you buy for speed or polish. It is the one you buy because you want to ride across the back roads of America or disappear down a gravel trail in the middle of nowhere, and know your motorcycle will not betray you. Owners tell the same story again and again. Basic tools, routine care, and the DR just runs. Fix a couple of well-known quirks on older models like neutral sensor screws, and you have got yourself a machine that can sail past 50,000 miles without a single major failure. No fragile electronics, no drama. Just a workhorse that keeps showing up. And it is affordable too. In the US, new models run around $6,500 to $7,000, with used examples often trading hands between $3,000 and $5,000. That kind of value only deepens the legend. The DR 650 is honest, rugged, and endlessly loyal. It delivers. But while it thrives in its simplicity, some riders still crave a motorcycle with the same indestructible single-cylinder charm, only bigger, brasher, and with Honda's unmistakable stamp on it. And what comes next might just be the most stubborn survivor of them all. Number 15, Honda XR 650L. The Honda XR 650L is proof that sometimes the simplest recipe is the one worth keeping forever. Introduced back in 1993, this motorcycle has barely changed in more than 3 decades. And that is not because Honda forgot about it. It is because they got it right the first time. At its core sits a 644 cubic centimeter air-cooled single. No fuel injection, no complicated electronics, no flashy gimmicks, just an old-school 4-stroke thumper that makes around 40 horsepower and asks for little more than fresh oil and occasional valve checks to keep on living. And live it does. Riders around the world tell the same story. These bikes cruise past 50,000, even 100,000 miles, still thumping along with the same dependable heartbeat they had on day one. Built around a durable steel frame with long travel suspension, a 21-inch front wheel, and rugged dual sport bones, the XR650L thrives in dirt while still being completely street legal. Its low compression ratio means it will run on regular gas, its dry sump lubrication keeps the motor safe even in harsh terrain, and its simplicity makes it easy to repair with basic tools no matter where you are. At just under $7,000 new, with used models typically trading between $3,000 and $5,000, the XR650L delivers bulletproof reliability at a price that makes sense. It is tough, honest, and timeless. It absolutely works. Love bikes that never let you down? Hit like, smash hype, and subscribe. Stick with us for more rides built to last a lifetime. While this Honda feels like the stubborn survivor of the dual sport world, some riders want the same kind of indestructibility packaged inside a long-distance touring machine, something built to devour highways for hundreds of thousands of miles. That is exactly what Yamaha is offering next. Number 14, Yamaha FJR 1300. Some motorcycles are not just machines, they are passports. The Yamaha FJR 1300 is one of those bikes. Introduced in the early 2000s, it quickly earned a reputation as the sport tour you could trust to take you across states, across countries, even across continents, and keep coming back for more. Its 1,300 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine is the very definition of bulletproof. Riders regularly brag about crossing the 100,000-mile mark without a single major issue. The occasional fuel injection, quirk or clutch tune-up, minor, cheap and easy to sort out, and that shaft drive, maintenance light, mess-free, and a godsend for anyone who hates fiddling with chains on the side of the road. This is a bike designed to eat miles, not your wallet, but reliability is not its only trick. The FJR blends comfort and speed in a way few bikes ever have. Cruise control, adjustable windscreen, plush seating, electronic suspension. It is like strapping a rocket to a LA's boy recliner. Even after hours in the saddle, you step off refreshed, not wrecked. And with fuel economy hovering in the low 40s, it will go roughly 300 miles before you even think about filling up again. At just over $22,000 brand new, it is a serious investment, but a smart one. And on the used market, clean examples under 15 grand prove just how well these bikes hold their value. The Yamaha FJR 1300 is more than a motorcycle. It is a promise that you can ride farther, longer, and harder without ever worrying about being let down. It absolutely delivers. But while the FJR is built for the rider who wants infinite highways and all-day comfort, maybe you are looking for something simpler, something stripped down, rugged, and ready to take a beating without all the frills. That is exactly where Honda comes in with what might just be the toughest way to keep rolling forever, no matter how rough the trail. Number 13, Honda ST 1100. Some motorcycles do not just carry you, they carry stories, miles, and memories. The Honda ST 1100, affectionately called the Pan-European, is one of those bikes. For decades, this liquid-cooled 1,100 cubic centimeter V4 has been a steadfast companion for riders chasing long-haul comfort, smooth power, and unwavering reliability. It is the kind of machine you can trust to cover coast-to-coast journeys without a second thought. Riders routinely report mileages well past 100,000 miles with nothing more than routine maintenance, oil changes, valve checks, and the occasional minor adjustment. The ergonomics are thoughtful, the suspension balanced, and the shaft drive removes the hassle of chain upkeep, making long rides effortless. Even older models, when well cared for, show minimal fatigue, proving that Honda's engineering here was about endurance, not flash. Used examples are a hidden gem. The ST 1100 can often be found between $1,800 and $4,000, offering decades of sport touring reliability at a fraction of modern bike prices. Common long-term care involves addressing swing arm corrosion or aging brake calipers, but these are minor when weighed against the bike's longevity and comfort. The ST 1100 delivers on every promise it makes: comfort, power, and bulletproof endurance. The City 1100 is the iron horse of touring, steady, smooth, and unstoppable. It never lets you down. Still, if that feels a little too buttoned up and you would rather have something leaner, tougher, and built to laugh at rough roads, the next bike has been proving its grit for decades. Number 12, Kawasaki Concours 1000. Some motorcycles earn a following not through flash or hype, but through decades of quiet, unwavering dependability. The Kawasaki Concours 1000 is one of those machines, built from the heart of Kawasaki's legendary Ninja ZX 1000 engine. The sport tourer blends performance, comfort, and rock-solid reliability in a package that has carried riders for hundreds of thousands of miles. The 997 cubic centimeter inline four engine delivers smooth, responsive power from idle to highway speeds, making it effortless on long rides while remaining ready for spirited cornering. Coupled with a shaft drive, it requires minimal maintenance, no messy chains to worry about, and keeps power delivery seamless for years of adventure. Owners routinely report Concours 1000 motorcycles exceeding 100,000 miles with only routine servicing, a testament to the engine's durability and Kawasaki's build quality. Its chassis and suspension are built to last, handling winding mountain roads and extended highway stretches with poise. Minor quirks like front brake feel or occasional transmission hesitation are easily addressed, but they never overshadow the overall reliability and touring comfort this bike provides. Used examples are a treasure for riders seeking proven longevity, typically priced between $3,000 and $7,500 depending on condition and mileage. For a motorcycle capable of decades-long service, it's a remarkable bargain. The Concours 1000 delivers exactly what it promises: dependable power, touring comfort, and maintenance simplicity. But some riders yearn for a machine that combines long-haul reliability with a slightly different personality, one that thrives in a broader range of riding conditions. And that is why the next is the ultimate fusion of ruggedness and versatility. Number 11, Suzuki Bandit 1200. When Suzuki unleashed the Bandit 1200 in the mid-1990s, it was like dropping a street fighter into the daily commute. This was not a fragile, high-strung sport bike. This was a bare-knuckled powerhouse with a heart borrowed from the GSX R1100, tuned down for torque, longevity, and the kind of reliability that keeps mechanics unemployed. At its core lies an 1157 cubic centimeter AIR and oil-cooled inline-4. Instead of chasing redline fireworks, it delivers a deep well of mid-range muscle, pulling hard from low revs while keeping the stress off its internals. Riders who simply change the oil, keep the chain clean, and give it the occasional valve check routinely see these engines run past 100,000 miles without so much as a cough. Even the clutch, a simple diaphragm design, shrugs off decades of use before asking for attention. The chassis is straightforward steel, the suspension and brakes unpretentious, but trustworthy, a solid foundation that makes this bike just as happy carving back roads as it is cruising the freeway. Prices today hover between about $1,400 and $2,700, making it one of the greatest bargains in dependable motorcycling. The Bandit 1200 isn't about luxury or polish. It is about a motor that refuses to quit, wrapped in a package that asks for little and gives back endlessly. But as formidable as this street bully is, some riders still wanted something different, a machine with the same ironclad reputation, but refined with aerospace precision, high-tech engineering, and a soundtrack unlike any other. That brings us to a Honda that became the very definition of sport touring perfection. Number 10, Honda VFR 750, VFR 800 Interceptor. If there was ever a motorcycle that proved Honda could turn failure into perfection, it was the VFR. The troubled VF series of the 1980s gave way to the VFR 750, and suddenly the world saw what happens when Honda decides to overbuild a machine with no weak spots. At the heart of this legend is a liquid-cooled V4 with gear-driven camshafts, an engineering choice that all but eliminates cam chain wear and gives the motor a unique mechanical whine riders adore. Smooth muscular power comes on strong in the mid-range, making it quick enough to spar with sport bikes, yet calm and composed for cross-country rides. Properly cared for, these engines regularly roll past 100,000 miles without a hiccup. Comfortable ergonomics, a stable chassis, and honest suspension make the VFR a bike that can commute Monday through Friday, carve canyons on Saturday, and cover 500 miles on Sunday without complaint. Maintenance is straightforward and the few known issues. A rear shock rebuild or an exhaust collector rusting out are minor compared to the decades of service the rest of the bike delivers. Even today, clean examples trade between about $1,300 and $3,800, a small price for what many call Honda's most bulletproof sport tourer. The VFR isn't just a motorcycle, it's a symbol of reliability dressed in red paint. The VFR's engineering might be flawless, but it's still a sport tourer at heart. Some riders dream of torque-rich, low-slung American iron that delivers character with every twist of the throttle, a machine that feels alive in a completely different way, straight out of Milwaukee. That is why the next machine took the same philosophy and gave it an American heartbeat in a package that has lasted for generations. Number 9. Harley-Davidson Sportster 883/1200. Few bikes embody American simplicity like the Harley-Davidson Sportster. Born in the 1950s and refined for nearly 4 decades, the Sportster 883, along with its bigger brother, the Sportster 1200, has earned a reputation as one of the most unstoppable machines on the road. The secret is the evolution. V-twin, air-cooled, 2-valve, and built with the kind of over-engineering that has made Harley-Davidson famous. This motor is about as close to bulletproof as an engine can get. Riders who keep up with oil changes and basic maintenance often see their Sportsters carry them well beyond 100,000 miles, with many still running strong after several decades. Parts are easy to find, repairs are straightforward, and the simplicity of the design means less can go wrong compared to high-tech competitors. On the road, the Sportster is not about blistering speed, it is about character. That unmistakable V-twin rumble, the steady torque delivery, and the timeless style that feels just as at home cruising downtown as it does stretching out on the highway. Used models remain a bargain, often trading between $5,000 and $7,000, while new ones hover closer to 15 grand. The Sportster is not flashy, not complicated, and not fragile. It is a working man's motorcycle, a machine that proves less can truly be more. The Sportster embodies simple, lasting power, but if you want a bit more top-end speed and highway muscle while maintaining Japanese reliability, the next big-bore sport tourer proves that overbuilt engineering and comfort can coexist beautifully. Number 8. Yamaha FJ1200. In the mid-1980s, Yamaha built a motorcycle that seemed almost immortal, the FJ1200. This was a time when riders wanted big engines, real comfort, and a machine that could cover endless miles without leaving them stranded. The FJ answered with a simple formula: keep it air-cooled, build it strong, and give it the kind of torque that made highways feel short. At the center of the bike is a 1,198 cubic centimeter inline-4, tuned for both power and endurance. With around 125 horsepower on tap, it was fast enough to scare sport bikes of the day, yet calm and unflappable on cross-country rides. Owners quickly learned that with nothing more than oil changes, valve checks, and the occasional carburetor tune, these motors could easily run past 100,000 miles. When parts did wear, they were easy to replace, and upgrades like modern brake pads or progressive fork springs made the bike even safer without sacrificing its toughness. Today, clean examples can still be found between about $1,300 and $3,200, a small sum for a motorcycle that might just outlast you. The FJ1200 proved that reliability and raw power could live in the same frame. The FJ1200 carved its name into the sport touring world with brute strength and long-haul comfort. But some riders eventually find themselves craving something purer, a return to the UJM blueprint. That true need is met by the timeless inline-4, the CB750, the very machine that redefined reliability, rewrote the rules, and yes, we'll dive into it. Next, number 7, Honda CB750. If there is one motorcycle that changed the world forever, it is the Honda CB750. Launched in 1969, It was the first true superbike, combining power, refinement, and reliability in a way the world had never seen. It set the standard for what a motorcycle should be: smooth, dependable, and built to last. For decades, riders trusted the CB 750, not just as transportation, but as a lifelong companion that rarely, if ever, let them down. Today, Honda keeps that spirit alive with the modern CB 750 Hornet. Its 755 cubic centimeter liquid cooled parallel twin delivers more than 90 horsepower with a broad wave of torque, while modern features like traction control, selectable riding modes, and ABS ensure everyday safety. Despite all the technology, Honda designed it with the same philosophy as the original. Make it simple to live with, light on maintenance, and reliable enough to ride for a lifetime. New models in 2025 start around $7,999 in the US, while classic CBs from the 70s and 80s still command between $3,000 and $12,000, depending on condition. The CB 750 is a timeless standard, smooth and dependable, but enthusiasts seeking long distance, comfort and heavyweight presence sometimes found it lacking. That search led them to a machine that could carry them further, with greater ease and unmistakable style. And that's exactly what they discovered in the next chapter: the American cruiser with legendary between endurance. Look to Milwaukee, where touring icons have been carrying riders and cargo for generations. Number 6, Harley-Davidson Electra Glide. If there is one motorcycle that has carried the weight of American touring on its shoulders for generations, it is the Harley-Davidson Electra Glide. This is not just a bike, it is an institution, a machine that has rumbled down interstates, led police escorts, and hauled riders across entire continents without flinching. For decades, the Electra Glide has proven itself as a road companion that does not just last, it endures. At its core beats the legendary Harley Big Twin, now evolved into the Milwaukee 8. It is an air-cooled torque factory designed not for peak numbers, but for forever. Smooth, steady, and built with an engineering philosophy that values durability over frills. These V-twins are known to log hundreds of thousands of miles when treated with nothing more than oil, filters, and respect. The belt drive minimizes maintenance. The chassis is planted and unshakable at highway speeds. And the ergonomics are dialed in for riders who measure their journeys in states, not cities. Price has never been small. New models sit between $24,000 and $30,000. But that is the cost of owning a flagship built to outlive its riders. Even older models found for $6,000 to $22,000, depending on condition, carry the same reputation: a glide that glides forever. But here is the twist. The Electra Glide dominates as a touring legend. Yet not every rider wants the size, the weight, or the sheer grandeur of this king. Some seek the same Harley reliability, but in a lighter, more approachable cruiser, built to last just as long. And that is where our next bike steps out of the shadows. Number 5, Honda Shadow 750. Some motorcycles earn their reputation through flash. The Honda Shadow 750 earned its place through something far more valuable: a decade after decade record of never letting its riders down. This machine has long been the working man's cruiser, simple, trustworthy, and designed to stay in the family for life. At its heart sits a 745 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled V-twin. It is not about screaming horsepower numbers. It is about smooth, relaxed torque that never quits. Backed by Honda's fuel injection and a shaft drive, the Shadow eliminates the headaches that plague so many other bikes. No chains to lube, no carbs to sink. Just fuel up, ride, and repeat for years. Owners routinely report mileages well into the six-figure range with nothing more than oil, filters, and an occasional valve check. Brand new, the Shadow 750 asks around $8,500. Used examples: as low as $2,000 for older units and up to $6,000 for well-kept modern ones. That puts a lifetime of Honda reliability within reach of almost anyone. But while the Shadow is the quiet warrior of the cruiser world, the next machine on our list takes dependability and adds something else entirely: sheer long-distance dominance. The Shadow offers approachable cruising with dependable engineering, but when the journey stretches into epic cross-country adventure, riders need unmatched comfort, wind protection, and the kind of mechanical trust that turns 300,000 miles into a weekend jaunt. That is where Honda's Goldwing claims its throne. Number 4, Honda Goldwing. When riders talk about motorcycles that feel more like moving fortresses than machines, one name rises above the rest: the Honda Goldwing. For more than 4 decades, this has been the undisputed king of touring, a motorcycle built to eat highway miles with an ease that feels almost unfair. But beyond the luxury and the creature comforts lies its greatest secret weapon, a reputation for reliability that has made the Goldwing a symbol of longevity around the world. The story begins with the GL 1100, a tank on 2 wheels, simple, stout, and nearly indestructible. Then came the GL 1500, a model beloved for its whisper-quiet ride and bulletproof 6-cylinder that could run seemingly forever with only basic care. And finally, the GL 1800 brought even more power and modern tech, trading a touch of simplicity for refinement, yet still delivering mile after mile of faithful service when maintained with care. Prices tell their own story. A brand new 2025 Goldwing Tour starts just under $29,000, with top-spec DCT airbag models cresting $33,000. But used models remain remarkably attainable. An older GL 1100 or GL 1500 often sells between $3,000 and $7,000, while well-kept GL 1800s fetch anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. For what these bikes deliver, decades of trusted service. That price is not just fair, it is a bargain. Ask Goldwing owners, and you will hear the same refrain: 100,000 miles is not an endpoint, it is a warm-up lap. These machines are engineered to outlast trends, outlast fads, and in many cases, outlast their owners. The Goldwing is peerless on long hauls, but its sheer size and weight can feel overwhelming for riders craving something sportier while still bulletproof. For those riders, Japanese standards like the XJ series strike that balance perfectly: strong, dependable, and agile without ever sacrificing reliability. And that is exactly where we are headed next. Number 3, Yamaha XJ 900. Some motorcycles are remembered for speed, others for style, but the Yamaha XJ 900 is remembered for something far more valuable. It simply refuses to die. Known in some markets as the Diversion or the Sika, this bike has carved out a reputation as one of the most dependable universal Japanese motorcycles ever built. Its secret is a straightforward formula: an air-cooled inline-4 engine mated to a shaft drive. No chain to clean, no constant adjustments, no fragile electronics to worry about. Just gas, oil, and go. Owners have racked up well over 100,000 miles on these machines with nothing more than routine oil changes and the occasional valve check. The motor delivers smooth, unhurried torque, perfect for commuting, touring, or simply cruising highways day after day. It is not flashy, and it was never meant to be. The XJ 900 was built as a workhorse, a motorcycle that could be loaded with luggage, pushed across state lines, and still fire up the next morning without complaint. Used prices remain accessible, often between $1,000 and $3,000 in the US, making it one of the best bargains in bulletproof reliability. The XJ 900 delivers rock-solid mid-weight road performance, but for some riders, the pavement alone is a prison. They demand more. A machine that can devour highways, claw through gravel, and cross continents without flinching. That is where Europe answered with a shockwave. BMW's Boxer Twin GS line, perfected for riders who refuse to stop where the road ends. Number 2, BMW R 1200 GS. When adventure riders talk about motorcycles that will take them anywhere on the planet and still ask for more, one name comes up again and again: the BMW R 1200 GS. From the oil head of the early 2000s to the hex head of the late 2000s, this bike has cemented itself as a legend of durability, versatility, and mile-eating endurance. At its heart is BMW's iconic air and oil-cooled Boxer Twin. This motor is not just powerful, it is simple, overbuilt, and endlessly serviceable. Valve adjustments are straightforward. The shaft drive eliminates messy chains, and owners routinely report these bikes sailing well beyond 100,000 miles. Some even cross 150,000 miles with nothing more than oil, filters, and a regular 6,000-mile service. What makes the GS remarkable is not only its longevity, but its range. It can blitz across interstates at 80 miles per hour, crawl down gravel-fire roads, or tackle high-altitude mountain passes, all without flinching. It is a motorcycle engineered to be a global traveler. Prices remain strong. Well-kept oil heads and hex heads often sell between $5,000 and $8,000, while brand new models push closer to $18,000. But the truth is, This is not just a purchase. It is an investment in a lifetime of adventure. And yet, despite all that engineering might, there is still one motorcycle that overshadows even the GS when it comes to indestructibility. The final entry on our list is not just reliable, it is the most produced motorcycle in human history. Number 1, Honda Super Cub. At the very top of our list sits not just a motorcycle, but a global icon, the Honda Super Cub. First rolling out in the late 1950s, it has been in continuous production for more than 60 years, a record no other bike can touch. Its formula? Simple mechanics, an air-cooled 4-stroke engine around 125 cubic centimeters, and a step-through design so approachable that more than 100 million have been sold worldwide. Owners call it indestructible. Change the oil, adjust the valves once in a while, and the Super Cub will run for decades. Even the modern C125 keeps that spirit alive, adding fuel injection, LED lighting, and smart key tech, without sacrificing the bulletproof core. Affordable, efficient, and utterly dependable, the Super Cub is proof that sometimes the simplest design becomes the most lasting legend. Pricing is incredibly accessible. Brand new Super Cub C125 models retail around $3,900 to $4,200, while used examples commonly range from $2,000 to $3,500. And if this journey into the motorcycles that refuse to break down has sparked your curiosity, and you're hungry for more stories of the machines that shape the roads we ride, click the video on screen, like, and subscribe to stay with us for the ride ahead.